What's up, guys? Mickle here. And one of the narratives that the Bitcoin maxis are constantly trying to push to the market is that Bitcoin is somehow different than every other cryptocurrency. Well, guys, I want to show you something shocking that I saw earlier today from a Bitcoin maxi space that is going to show you that these people 100% see XRP as the biggest threat to Bitcoin. Now, these Bitcoin maxis will constantly try to push the narrative that Bitcoin is different. It's trying to tackle a different market. But I want to show you something absolutely shocking that's going to make it perfectly obvious to you why these people are always trying to FUD Ripple and XRP. Guys, toward the end of the video, though, I also want to talk about XRP price action, where the entire market is headed. I think we are on the verge of something absolutely massive, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, down in the description of this video. Uphold is currently giving away 100,000 XRP. Guys, this giveaway is going on right now. Do not miss out on it. Go to the link in the description of this video and sign up with Uphold now. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, I just wanted to call something out before we jump into the video. I actually just launched my private Twitter. So if you subscribe to me on my main Twitter account at XRP Mickle, all the links are in the description. You will actually be able to get access to my private Twitter account. Here you will be able to directly send me DMs. I respond to all of them. You will be able to see my entire crypto and stock portfolio. I will post videos without ads and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you want to take that extra step to get closer to me personally, be able to have direct conversation with me and see other things I'm investing in, make sure to check that out. So let's jump into the video, and the reason I even came across this kind of funny narrative being pushed by the Bitcoin maxis right now is really just because there wasn't much going on in the XRP spaces. There really wasn't much news going around, so I figured, hey, why don't I jump into one of these Bitcoin maxi rooms and see what they're talking about? And when I actually picked up on the conversation that they were discussing, I was absolutely shocked. What they were talking about was institutional use cases for Bitcoin, and they were talking about how Bitcoin could be used in our current financial system. So already I thought that was kind of funny because this is a completely different narrative than the Bitcoin maxis are normally pushing. And then they started talking about exactly how they thought Bitcoin could be used. And what they were saying was that Bitcoin could be a neutral settlement layer between different real-time payment systems. Now, as soon as I heard that, I started laughing because without me even saying anything, what does that narrative sound like to you? Yes, it's the exact same use case Ripple has been pushing for XRP. So what I'm trying to show here is that these Bitcoin maxis are constantly FUDding what Ripple is doing, constantly FUDding XRP. Meanwhile, they want to position Bitcoin to do the same exact thing. Now, I don't have any worries about Bitcoin actually doing that because it's slower, it's less efficient, and it doesn't have a party that is working with the institutions to help adopt the technology. But I think it's absolutely shocking that this is a use case they're trying to push. What these Bitcoin maxis understand is that Bitcoin can't just only be a store of value. If it really wants to dominate our future financial system, it has to be used on a transactional basis. Now, for the longest time, they were essentially saying that this neutral bridge currency really didn't matter. You didn't need one. All these different governments were going to create CBDCs, and the idea that some cryptocurrency would be in the middle was absolutely insane. It didn't make any sense. You don't need a cryptocurrency for that. Instead, they were saying the Bitcoiners were just going to use their Bitcoin in their own little system, and all the CBDCs would be happening on the side. But what is so funny is they are finally starting to realize the vision that we saw from the beginning. We understood that all these different CBDCs were all going to be built on different platforms, and all these different CBDCs were not going to be interoperable with one another. So as these countries all around the world build out their own systems with their own rules, there needed to be some asset in between them to help bridge and create interoperability between all these different systems. Now, this is the vision Ripple saw from the beginning, and they realized you could use a very fast, efficient digital asset like XRP to bridge all these different systems. And that's the vision I really see for XRP as its max utility. What I think is so funny is these Bitcoin maxis for the longest time said that this vision didn't make any sense. There was no need for XRP. Ripple could just run their business without the digital asset. They pushed all this FUD, and now what they're understanding is that we were right the entire time. Now they are understanding that these different countries all have their own networks, and these networks, all of these networks are going to have to be interoperable with each other for the whole system to function. Now, what they are lacking is any party like Ripple actually working with the institutions. Because for the longest time, the Bitcoiners were screaming down with the banks, down with the institutions. We're going to tear down the system. We're going to rebuild it all on Bitcoin. And that vision, as I have been saying, and as everyone from Ripple has been saying since the start, was never realistic. And this is why I do not think their approach to making Bitcoin this neutral settlement option for these systems is ever going to play out. Yes, there might be some small scale use cases in which that happens, because at the end of the day, anyone can use Bitcoin. It's a decentralized system, so someone's probably going to do it, but I don't think it's ever going to be used for large scale settlement like the XRP ledger is being positioned. During the time period in which the Bitcoin maxis were running around calling for the destruction of all the banks and the destruction of all the institutions, what was Ripple doing? They were working with central banks all around the world to build CBDCs. They currently have already built 5 CBDCs, they're working with 10 other countries, and in talks with over 30 more. So while the Bitcoin maxis were talking about tearing down the system, Ripple had been working with the institutions to rebuild the system. What else is Ripple doing? Well, Ripple's already working with over 500 different companies to send payments on the XRP ledger. So Ripple already has a massive head start in positioning XRP to be this neutral liquidity asset. And the Bitcoin maxis are just realizing that this is going to be important because they had a totally unrealistic vision of where the future was headed. But what I think is so important to understand is that they essentially took their unrealistic vision of the future and said, hey, we don't believe the XRP ledger is going to be successful because we believe Bitcoin is just going to tear down the entire system. And what we are learning is that even they understand they were wrong. They are trying to reposition Bitcoin based on their new narrative, but what they don't realize yet is they have already fallen dramatically behind. Yes, some institutions might use Bitcoin as liquidity, but I have a feeling most of the institutions are going to be smart enough to say, hey, let's use this way faster digital asset. Let's use this way more efficient digital asset. Let's not use a digital asset that takes an entire rainforest to send an entire transaction. Guys, what this proves is that once again, we have been on the money. So many people said Ripple didn't need XRP. XRP wasn't critical to the solution. XRP was just something Ripple was using to fund their business. And now Bitcoin maxis want to position Bitcoin in the exact place Ripple has been positioning XRP the entire time. Guys, if this doesn't show you that we have been on the money with all of this, we have seen the greater vision for where this system is headed. We have seen the greater vision on exactly how cryptocurrencies can be interoperable with our next generation financial system. I don't know what will. We just had our biggest hater out there essentially validate our entire investment thesis. Overall, I think this is really important because, right, I can always get up here and make the case for why XRP is going to be important, why Ripple can be important. But when you have a group that really has been against us from the start, literally admitting that our vision for how this is going to play out is going to be very important. And the only difference in their vision is they want to use a slower, less efficient digital asset. And we want to use a faster, more efficient digital asset with a company that has already made dramatic strides in making this happen. Guys, I think it's fairly safe to say they are essentially validating everything we have been saying. Overall, I just thought this was super interesting. I couldn't believe it when I heard them saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to be this asset between all these different systems. Guys, we know who is meeting with the Federal Reserve in 2013. We know who has former members of the Treasury on their board. Rosie Rios signed half the money in existence. She said in her next job, she's going to be creating the new money. Guys, I think we're positioned perfectly, and I just think it's so funny that the Bitcoin maxis are just realizing this. And I want to finish this video off and just quickly talk about the market because, guys, I really do think we're entering a very exciting time. Now, I showed this post the other day, right, of essentially how altcoins were just breaking out of their accumulation range, and I was pointing out the fact that based on everything we have seen in the past, right, it is a lot more likely that altcoins are going to catch up to where Bitcoin is just like that has happened in almost every single cycle. But I want to point out something to you real quick that I shared in the private group. And I'm always sharing new things that might get washed out in the normal feed day to day. These are things I really want to highlight. And guys, that is that in the past, we almost always have had Bitcoin pumping and altcoins following. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but what you can see is almost every single time in the past as Bitcoin is pumped, altcoin has followed, and the same exact thing is happening now. And what did we have just today? Well, guys, just today we had the early signs of Ethereum actually starting its run, Ethereum breaking out. And I know that's not what everyone likes to see. I know a lot of people are really down with Ethereum because of all the sketchy stuff they did in the past. But guys, to me, this just confirms that series of events where Bitcoin pumps and altcoins follow that has been playing out for every single cycle is about to play out again. To me, all the signs are pointing to the fact that we are very, very close to some very exciting action in XRP and the rest of the top tier cryptocurrencies. Guys, if that coincides with XRP getting any kind of beneficial narrative, like a settlement or any kind of big institutional adoption, guys, I think we could be right around the corner from one of the biggest bull markets we have seen yet. Like always, guys, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's really going to help me out. If you want access to the private group, make sure to come over to my Twitter and subscribe. And for now, Mickle out.